Hello, I'm DJ Shiftee from New York City, representing Dubspot, Hot Mom USA, New York, New York, New York Knicks. Yeah, so I'm a DJ and a performer, and I make music and run a record label, and I teach DJing. And sort of personally, what drives me and gets me out of bed every morning, what gets me the most excited, is sort of looking at the tools that I have at my disposal, my DJ tools, whether it's a turntable, a mixer, a controller, and thinking about how can I use those to do something that's never been done before. And so really, a lot of what drives me is, trying to push the boundaries of what people know of as DJ, DJ performance. And right now, especially taking new tools like MIDI controllers, stuff in Tractor, even the iPad, and looking at how can I fuse that with sort of a more traditional skill set like DMC, Scratch, and put that all together in one package. And then meanwhile, still do this in the context of a club where people are having a good time, and being able to have that kind of performance happen and have everyone enjoy it. So pushing things, but trying to make it for it's like not just for the nerds, for like mom and dad, or like the person who's there to hear Rihanna. I mean, sometimes I'm there to hear Rihanna. Rihanna's great. I follow her on Instagram. She posts like bikini photos all the time, and she doesn't have wonderful insights about the world. I mostly follow for the photos, but yeah, somewhat like trying to push things, but also do it in a way that sort of has a bigger tent so that anyone can kind of appreciate what's happening. Like the nerdiest nerd can see like, oh, he's doing like this technique with this technique, and has like this kind of mapping going, but then someone else would be like, oh, that sounds good, and his hands are moving fast. And so I'm kind of trying to have that happen within this sort of like more accessible kind of context. And for me, coming up, I came up in really like a DJ battle kind of background, like doing DMC and doing battles, and certainly like the nerdiest of the nerdy. Like what the people who really inspired me when I was starting out were like A-Track and Craze, especially like the Allies, and of course like the Scratch Pickles and P-Tricks, and Executioners, but really in particular I'd say A-Track and Craze, like the routines they did from like 99 to 2002. I'd say those were sort of the most influential routines for me, because at that time it was really, it was all vinyl still, and those guys in particular really like made the most out of the equipment. And so that's sort of a very fun kind of challenge for me, looking at a limited set of tools and tools that people have used over and over again, and then still being able to find new results, being able to find that kind of like aha moment in a situation where people have knocked their heads against it for years and years. And so I think, like Craze and A-Track in particular, 98 through like 2002, 2003, those were really formative sort of like battle turntablism routines, because they did that. They pushed things, sounded good, and they were creative. Also, I had my own kind of DJ crew that took me under their wing, starting when I was really like 14, 15, a crew called the Low Lives crew. And that's Precision, Boogie Blind, who are now also in the Executioners, Confucius, and Tragic. And they were sort of like mentors to me. Like they were a bit older than I was, and at that time I lived in the suburbs, and I'd go each weekend 90 minutes by public transportation to Queens to go practice at Confucius's, that's a lot of S's, his place, and that was sort of like a fun and really helpful environment. I think actually what separates people with maybe like a similar amount of talent and drive is the sort of like support system that they have, being able to have people who are more experienced and people who can give you actual constructive criticism, actual constructive feedback, where like, no, that's whack. That thing you did, that's good. You really need something like this. And so I think like for me, I was lucky because I had like drive, but I was able to link with like one of the dopest crew in New York. And so I think that's like really important, to have a network of people around you that you can send things to and get real feedback from them. A lot of times people are just like, oh, that's sick, and really don't, you know, or people's, I don't know, maybe their egos get hurt. But for me, like I came up like being like, no, that's whack. And so like even to this day, I still like I send my routines as I'm making them like to the crew. Like I won't really, in general, I won't like send a routine out to the world if it's going to be like a routine that a lot of people are going to see without sending it through the crew first. And yeah, so I came up under them, the Lowlives crew, and they sort of like helped shape my battle mentality, sort of like how to put together a good routine, and then that's cool. So those guys have been like now like my friends for life for a long time. Like 14 years or so, having this sort of like relationship. And I think that's one of the exciting things about DubSpot, which is where I teach in New York. I'm also the director of the DJ program there, so I oversee the curriculum of the DJ side of things. And also it's opening in LA and we have an online school, but I think one of the main things that people get from that is having a community of other people who are interested in similar things to what they're interested in. So of course, learning the technique and learning from a teacher and a mentor and someone who can really say like, you know, cut out a lot of the mess is helpful. But I think one of the things people get from it a lot is, that energy of hearing new music from someone, or going to practice with someone else, or doing, starting a night. And so, at DubSpot, a lot of the students who are there, they'll become friends and like musical partners for a long time. So for me, I think like, this to use one of the Beat Emporium buzzwords, community is really important, and I really think it's what separates. There are obviously, I think, exceptions where maybe there's some like genius in the mountains who like only like looks at an owl in the woods and that's his only inspiration, or like he hears things in his sleep, he or she can make like amazing music like that. But in general, I think what separates people is the sort of support structure that you have. So like I said, for me, I'm always trying to push things forward. Basically, just like do something that's new for me or new that I haven't seen before. But one of the things that's really helped me do that is having this support structure where someone can say like, oh, that thing that you think is dope, I think it's whack. And then, okay, what is that? Let's think about it.